Jericho, aka Zeroed In, coming to you at the end of the week. I don't know about you guys, but I'm glad it's Friday. It's been a long work week for me. I'm sure it's been a long week of school or work or what have you for you guys. So let's just play some Black Ops. Alright, I got a standard team deathmatch here on Cracked once again, and I am using the Skorpian with the Suppressor and Rapid Fire. And I'm not using my typical setup in this. I'm not using Ghost. I'm using Scavenger because the Skorpian needs Scavenger. You can use Ghost with it if you want, but you're not going to get past maybe 4 or 5 kills without running out of ammo with this thing, especially with Rapid Fire. It really helps to have Scavenger on the Skorpian when you're using it. And as you can see right here, this thing packs a punch at close range. It's real small and real light, and people are, my first impression of it in Call of Duty 4 was that it just looked incredibly piss weak. It couldn't have been that good, and it surprised me a lot. In Black Ops, it's roughly the same kind of power. Very, very powerful close range, and I mean very close range, but it has virtually no recoil. With Rapid Fire, it has a very slight amount of recoil. Rapid Fire without a grip, I mean, it's noticeable, but it's not enough to warrant the use of a grip. But anyways, the gun is not necessarily what I want to talk about in this video. I really want to discuss tactics once again, and you know that's what I like to discuss, and I feel like that's what helps people out the most. So here, someone posted on my video, I believe it was KPW22. I think I'm getting the username right. This is just off the top of my head, but he said, "What do I do when my teammates start spawning around me? Like I'm trying to play stealth, and I've been alive for long enough that my teammates start spawning next to me." Well, if your teammates are spawning next to you, first of all, that means that you're not close enough to the enemy spawn, or at least that you're not in the enemy spawn, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But he said, what do I do? I spend most of my time traveling back and forth. Well, something I've found that's reasonably effective when they keep doing this is just kind of pause for a second, wait for your teammates to run off, do their thing, and then either head the opposite direction and try to flank the enemy or hit them on their path to you guys. Or just, stay put for a second and try to watch your enemies, or watch your teammates back. Watch his flank and pick up any kills for any enemies who are trying to rush you guys. So I feel like that's a better option than trying to run around the map the entire time. It can be effective to rush the enemy at times, but don't spend the whole game doing it. It's more important to know where the enemy is rather than be where the enemy is. And if you don't know what I mean by that, basically what I mean is know at all times where at least the enemy is coming from. You don't necessarily... oh, and by the way, I ought to mention right here, I thought I had my dogs, and I clicked over to call them in, and I was surprised to see I was in my chopper gunner. I was like, I'm not going to get my dogs, but in a stroke of luck, I managed to actually get a guy with a car bomb. So needless to say, I was pretty lucky to get that. So going back to general gameplay strategy here, I know I've mentioned it before, but it is important to understand how the enemy spawns work. And to get a better feel, I mean, I can kind of describe it for you guys, but I think for you to get a better feel of it, it's never a bad idea to either go into theater mode and watch from a big overhead view, take the free camera and bring it up all the way above the map, kind of like this chopper gunner is doing right now, and leave the team names on and watch how the spawns work. Observe them and try to learn the pattern. Basically, how it works is the majority of your team, wherever they are, the enemy team tends to spawn at the furthest extreme from them on the other side of the map. So when your team is congregating in one area, you want to move at least midway to the other side of the map so that you can be the first to pick off enemies. or ambush them or flank them, get right up in their spawn, do whatever it is that you want to do. But with stealth, it's important that, and with any class, I mean, this isn't just stealth tactics. This is important for anything. Know where they're coming from. If you decide to rush them, flank them, get in their spawn, sit and wait and ambush them, whatever it is that you want to do, make sure that you know what direction you should be facing and what direction they're going to come out of so that you can properly take cover. That's an important thing. I mean, if I ran out into that street where I'm facing now and completely turned around, I'd just be asking to get killed, because that's exactly where the enemy is going to be coming from. So they're going to get me. You gotta know at least what direction you should be expecting the enemy from. That's a crucial part of the gameplay. As I get a fail knife here. And I know I mentioned it before, but I'll go ahead and say it again. The spawns flip very rapidly in this game, so that's why it's always important that you are constantly scanning your minimap and making sure that you're facing the direction that is opposite of your team's position, or the biggest cluster of your team. And that is why you'll see me, one of the last sections of this gameplay, you'll see me turn rapidly around, as see now my teammates are spawning on that side of the map where the enemies just were, and now I know they're going to be coming from the other side, so I kind of flank up on one path where I know they won't be, and I hear footsteps coming from the middle of this building, so I pursue them upstairs, but I don't have enough time to kill them before the game ends, as it gets really laggy here right at the end for some reason. So that is the game. That's 32-1. If you guys have any suggestions for me, please let me know in a comment or a message. And I really appreciate you guys watching. So keep the comments coming, and I will continue to play the game. Please let me know if these tips work for you. It helps me out a lot. So thank you very much for watching.